Hello, friends. How are we doing? It's another Flosstube weekly update with me, Annie. Joy-Filled Stitcher here on Flosstube and on Instagram, and this is Flosstube number 18. Last week I said that my Flosstube was old enough to see an R-rated movie. I'm not R-rated, but my Flosstube's old enough to. This week, my Flosstube is old enough to exercise its right to vote. So, wish it luck. Anyway, I'm just being goofy. Today is Friday, September 13th, Friday the 13th, and full moon. Let's pause, give a moment of silence to that nonsense. I am a teacher, and so kids, full moon kids, sometimes wonkiness. So if you've had a wonky day, I was with you on that one. Although my hair's looking kind of nice. I'm in a weird growing out phase, but it's looking halfway decent. It's like tangly now that I'm putting my hands through it. Anyway, welcome back if you are rejoining me from a previous video. If you are new to my channel, welcome. I am so happy to have you here, sharing my love of cross stitch and chattiness and stash acquiring and all the fun stuff that goes along with it. I've been doing this now since the middle of May, so I'm in about month 4, I think. Something like that. About one a week. Next week will be interesting because we are going to be at Great Wolf, so I either will record on Thursday. I think I'll probably record on Thursday in advance because we will be at Great Wolf. I might have some footage of Great Wolf to add to the following week. We'll see. So Flosstube 19 will likely be filmed and uploaded on Thursday next week instead of Friday. So I hope everybody's had a great week so far. I kind of been week, you know. It's like one of those just after a short week of school and a short work week, the next week usually seems kind of long. This one seemed kind of long. I had a lot of meetings. Lots of things on my to-do scroll. I should have a to-do scroll. My to-do list was multiple pages long, and I got everything I think I needed to accomplish. I've got some things to accomplish tonight and over the weekend to have myself ready to start on Monday. So yeah, let's talk about things that bring me joy. It was something I started last week. So something that brings me joy is you guys, being kind of, you know, sentimental right now. I started this because I just wanted a record of my stitching. And so, and honestly, the best place to store videos is YouTube, just simply because, your iPads get full, your phone gets full. My phone is full of cross-stitch photos, and I gotta figure out some kind of situation on getting those off my phone. I'm afraid any day now I'm gonna be like, you have too many photos, you need to delete. And I'm gonna be like, oh! So I need to take care of it ahead of time. So if you know some kind of good, easy way to like store photos in a cloud or something, share. Do share, please share. Share and share alike. I'm gonna stop saying, that does not bring me joy. Back to what I was saying. Thank you, you know, for like hanging out with me, for, you know, being along for this ride. I think I looked and I have like 234 new friends, which is awesome. And each time I get like a new subscriber alert, that just like makes me happy. I did not do this for the subscriber count. I did not do this for anyone but myself, but it's pretty cool to see this community and how we uplift each other and all that goes along with that, and just how we can share this craft and this art. I mean, I truly believe that this is an art, and that we are all artists. And to be considered a productive member of this community is pretty amazing. Who would have thought when I started at 17, like 22 years ago, that this is what would come of it. So yeah, that brings me like exceptional joy. I am loving that I come home on a Friday and I have, you know, I get to sit and chat. Even if I'm just chatting to a screen, I really feel like I'm chatting with each of you. I'm thinking of those of you that comment frequently and those of you who interact with my posts on Instagram. And I think about those of you that watch and that I'm sharing this with you. And it's like having a conversation. And my hope is that this you know, kind of one of my goals moving forward throughout 2019 and then into 2020 is I'd love to go to some retreats. My local one, I am number 4 on the wait list for that, which is kind of a bummer. That's in November, and I don't think anybody's backed out yet. I put my name at 1107 on the StitchCon wait list, so we will see if that is something that's real, a dream that's realized. And I mean, there's so many other great things out there, meetups and things like that. I think there's another one that's local to me that's going to be in April, so I may look into that one. Oh my gosh. Way to lose a train of thought as your dog snoring like a lumberjack right next to you. He's emulating how I feel at the end of this week. I mean, it was bad, guys. Like Wednesday, I think. It was like 8:30. I put my kid to bed. She was fast into dreamland, and I was stitching, and it was like, I kept like zonking out mid-stitch. Thankfully, I didn't do any mistakes that would require me to frog. But about the 4th time I went like that, I was like, okay, it's time to put the stitching away. And so I literally turned on Flosstube on my iPad, and I didn't even make it like 5 minutes into a video. I'm really enjoying catching up on Flosstube at night when I don't fall asleep. It's not that y'all are not interesting. It is not that I don't love it. It's that I forget every year how long it takes to really build back up that stamina of like the everyday grind. And with it's the extras. And I was talking to our music teacher today because we have the same lunchtime. And she said, you know, I've been so tired this week. But she's had a lot of like extras, like all the extra parent meetings, the extra things beyond just the normal day to day. It's a lot. We had our first student council meeting. I'm a student council sponsor this year. And that was one morning this week. And so just the prep in advance of that. Anyway, I could ramble on for hours and hours about my life this week. But let's talk some stitching. So I hope you've had a good stitchy week. I think I had a pretty rockin' awesome stitchy week, and I am going to share some things with you. First thing I'm going to share, and this is actually not the first thing I worked on after we talked with each other last week, but it is a finish. Woohoo, woohoo, woohoo. So you have heard me talk about this piece that is actually for a swap. I have to have it in the mail before we go out of town, or before we go on our little staycation-y thing to Great Wolf. So basically, I have a few days this weekend and a few days next week to get this FFO'd into a small and get it packed up with the other little goodies I've acquired. This is a local exchange. And it was fall or Halloween themed. My person chose fall. And I went a little like, not traditional like fall. I used fall colors, and I hope she's okay with it. I'm really pleased with where this came out to. So I'm going to show you first where it was. So this is Winding Stitches uniform, and I actually chucked the paper. I'm like, filming, need the paper. But anyway, Winding Stitches on Etsy, and she does great like geometric-y type, kind of open work, Quaker, amazing patterns. You can use any floss, things like that. So this is one of her tinies. So I was kind of in this realm, and then there's the top of a medallion here. And I got halfway done with the bottom piece. And I was like, do I want to restitch around? So I kind of had like this epiphany. And I have this great, and I showed it in one of my previous videos as a stash from Stash Unload. It's a book by Dover, and it's from long ago, and it's charted monograms, and it has crowns in it. And so I charted her first and last initial and a crown, and so this is my finished piece, and I love how it turned out. I love this. So this was stitched. This is a piece, an 18 count mystery grab bag piece from Color and Cotton. It is stitched in a beautiful Silks for You. I believe the colorway is PR067, and I actually still have it in the bag. Let me pull it out so you can see. This is my bobbinated skein of it, but I think you can still kind of get the idea of just how this is like a beautiful autumnal colorway. And so this was stitched, I don't know my full stats on it, like how long it took me and things like that. But I did finish it on Saturday with roughly 400 stitches. Got me a finish. So yeah, I'm really pleased with this. So I finally have a finish. I don't think I had a finish in August. And I now have finished in September, which is awesome. And I am pushing for at least one more finish. And I gotta have some finishes before I can start anything. I'm really starting to feel like, ooh. And you know, I'm pretty, like, somebody that I watch without fail every video. And I am behind. But without fail, I watch hers when I'm going back through and rewatching. Hers are ones I always watch, which is Michelle Garrett of Bendy Stitchy. Michelle Bendy Stitchy. She just went through and like did an epic clean out of her whips. And I think she said she went from like 90-ish whips, 89-ish whips to like 33. So I'm already starting to think I've got some things that I started because of Magical Stitches and it fit a task. I started because I liked it at the time that are like haunting me. So I either feel like I need to finish them or move on from them. I've got some amazing things kitted. I have 2 that I have to share today that fabric arrived for. And I tell you, I am jonesing to start some things, but I got some stuff to finish first. So anyway. I'm going to keep chatting if I don't keep showing things I'm working on. So the next thing that I worked on, and I talked about this last week, this is a new start. This is the Tempting Tangles. It is their current stitch, it's one of their current stitch alongs. And this is Miss Cottontail's Excellent Finishing School? Miss Cottontail is what I'm calling it. And so the first part I finished over the weekend. And then part 2 was released yesterday. So I have since started on part 2. And I'm doing kind of some parking-ish type things. I'm trying to fix this floss. This is stitched on a 16 count Aida from Mystic Fabrics. And I have quite the Mystic Fabrics. Oh, my stars. I'm dropping stuff already. I saw a shirt or something that said, oh, my stars. And I was like, I need it. Oh, you can see my gray hairs. Look at my gray hairs while I bend down and pick up my needle minder off the floor. My needle minder is currently holding my parked rainbow border because I have already done the new portions border. And I actually, this was kind of my first venture into, because they're going across this way. If I had a color that was along the edge and the stitches went up to that end of that pattern, I went ahead and kind of parked it until the next pattern released. So again, this is on a 16 count, beautiful kind of light dove gray. So this was the entire first section right here, and it ended right there. So I have since gone through, and this pink and this red were parked, and I went ahead and finished those out earlier today. This chick yellow was parked right about here, and so I finished him out. This yellow continues over here, so I went ahead. This green is actually going to continue all the way across, but I had reached a stopping point on that floss. I got a knot or something in it, and so it was just easier to tie off and be done. So I have since, this is the next square. We'll run the length of this amount here. And I've got my, this was a pin I got at Disneyland, a Dole Whip, and I had my husband hack off the back and grind it down, and then I turned it into a needle minder. So it's holding my rainbow, my DMC Colorese. So I am loving this, and I am pretty proud of myself. So far, granted, it's one of 16 releases, but I am caught up. I had finished that before the new one was released. I'm bummed, though, because I have an exceptionally large piece of fabric, and while putting it on the Q-snap last night, I hear crack, and I was like, no! It cracked I cracked the seam right here. It's not completely cracked, but it for sure will not hold fabric tightly. Look, it's like burp, burp. So needless to say, I gotta find myself another size 6 clamp. I think you can buy them replacement clamps. I will be doing that. This resides in an Amazon project bag. I ran out of fabric pouches and time to make fabric pouches. So, but if I do my clean out, I'm gonna have some ones to put things in. All right, so let's talk homework. So this week, Magical Stitches homework. talked about picking your side, picking light or dark. And you had to stitch your preferred path, your preferred light or dark path first. I chose the light path. And so you had to do 600 stitches for that preferred path. So I did 600 stitches in a project for light, 400 for dark, and then the bonus for 2 points was 200 stitches in something your most dazzling project. To be something that dazzled you, you saw it and you had to start it. That's pretty much everything in my collection. So anyway, my light side, I chose to work on a project that has not been worked on in a while. And this is one that's been haunting me, and I love it. Everything about this. It's just, it didn't fit tasks and things like that. So this week I was like, it's going to fit. And I made it. So this is a Charted by Me. I know the plans I have for you, and it's Jeremiah 29:11. So I call it just Jeremiah 29:11. And this is in a pouch with some Tula fabric that I've had for quite some time, with some cute fabric, also Tula, that I created. And this is being stitched on a 14 count silk weavers, and I think it's baby mint. And this is stitched with a absolutely impeccably beautiful, there are just no words for how gorgeous this floss is, Mrs. Sadas. You know how much I love her stuff. Raquel's stuff is insanely gorgeous. But this might be like my favorite ever. Okay, that's hard to say. And I have a lot of it. And so I might be finding another project to do with it. But this is in the colorway Popcorn. This doesn't even really do it as much justice as it being stitched up. Let me show you what's on the bobbin, because I think this even shows some of the colors even better. Look at that. Oh, so beautiful. I don't know what kind of popcorn she's eating over in Spain. Or what the reference is to that, but I'm going to tell you, I want some of her crazy pink and teal and purple popcorn. Anyway, I am obsessed. The way this floss variegates, shut the front door. So I had, up to this point, I had somewhere around ands, I have. And so I stitched the P, the L, and then I know, and this W, it's going to continue to look kind of like swoop like that. I love it. And she's doing an insanely awesome, oh, I shouldn't share this. I'm going to be stitchy kind and share. Go to her Instagram. She is doing a phenomenal Christmas giveaway. Like, I can't even speak to how amazingly generous it will be. I could continue on and on and on and on about her generosity, her workmanship. I mean, just amazing. And again, every time I bring out anything that has Mrs. Sadas silks, I have to bow down to Raquel and thank Jan Hicks of Jan Hicks Creates for sharing her with me. So run, don't walk to her shop, buy all the things, and just be amazed. Be amazed. Okay, so dark side. Really? Anyway. So dark side. I had fully intended to pull out a project that needs time. It's haunting me, and it's a Halloween themed project. But it's just not my favorite anymore, and I don't know how to rectify that situation. Okay, anyway. And it is Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery, Mysterious Halloween Town. This was one I started for School of Magical Stitches. And I have a fair bit amount into it. But you know, it's not my jam right now. So I don't know if I just put it away and revisit, you know, like in the future when maybe my styles change, or do I just say, hey, who wants it? And I'll send it to you. You'd have to buy the pattern, but I mean, it's a digital pattern from Frosted Pumpkin. So yeah, I don't know. So I ended up putting in like 100 and some odd stitches in this towards the 400 for the dark side before I was like, I don't even want to work on it. So I finished off the haunted house. So it's done. Yeah, I don't know. It's cute. What do you think? It's on a 14 count Ada and Lavender Sunset. That was just one I found on 123 Stitch. It's blue, but blue. It's lavender. It's purple. lavender purple with some green accents kind of throughout. Very mild green accents. This lives in a Love You More Studio Co. Snuggie pouch that's in this pretty feather print. That one bums me out because I just am not loving it. I already abandoned one. No, I abandoned 2 Sal's this year. I also abandoned Lizzie Kate's Our House. And I even tried swapping fabric on that one, and I just can't wrap my head around it. And I also abandoned, for the moment, Blackbird Design Strawberries Fields Forever. And that is because it has nothing to do with the colors or anything like that. I had it on a fabric I didn't like. Tried it on a different fabric, and it was funky the way the fabric was working for me. It's too hard to explain. But basically, I was like, nope, too hard right now. So it's currently in UFO status. And I'm about to either put some other things in UFO status or just be done. Okay, so I ended up for the dark side. I had already gone ahead and highlighted 500 stitches in this project for an extra credit. But I just went ahead and said, okay, I'm going to count all those stitches, not for extra credit. I'm going to put them in toward this task, and then I can re-highlight 500 more for the extra credit. I enjoy this project insanely, like so much so that I cannot wait to stitch my second one, which is going to be a complete color conversion to a different colorway altogether, and that is HL's Moth by Kathy Barrick. And I said this was the dark side because the color that I had picked to work on is Weeks Dye Works Chesapeake, which is similar to DMC 934, as well as Old Hickory, which is a brown color. I'm dying. The way that I've decided to stitch this is by kind of a color complete. And it's like it comes to life. Each color, it comes to life. And there's just genius in the charting of this pattern. I mean, Kathy Barrick is, like we've talked before about how she's my BFF. But like, this is beautiful. So as you can see, I've done all of the Chesapeake throughout the whole pattern. So you can see how it's starting to bring in just how those wings are going to curve. And then I've started to fill in some of the Old Hickory. There's a little bit more in here. And then there's some over here. I went ahead and did my 500 next. And they're going to continue some more in that Old Hickory. So hopefully you'll see that next week. I die every time I see it. And this is on an 18 count from Mystic Fabrics in Veteris. I seriously don't know if I'm saying that right, or Veteris, or anyway, beautiful hand-dyed fabric. I love working with her fabrics. They are phenomenal. I have a bunch more of this same fabric, same piece that I've cut off because it was like folding. That's going to go towards the second version of this. All right, I'm hopeful. Amanda May of Ardith Design gave me a great comment about how her friend had a similar problem with the videos that were longer and how YouTube kind of cut it off. It was 33 minutes and 15 seconds. Last video was when I got cut off. And she had said that if I tried to like delete the app and reload the app, that helped her friend. So I'm hopeful because we're at 23 minutes and I haven't even talked stash. Now we're starting to overlap into stash with this project. So this was a new start yesterday. I considered this my dazzling project. This is one I am doing that is a, oh no, this doesn't overlap with stash, whatever. This is another Tempting Tangles, and this one is, I think, $5, but I think you have to buy it pretty quick here because the 16th piece got released last week, and it's about a week or so after that's released that they start like pulling it from Etsy or they pull it from the Facebook group. I can't remember how it all works, but the files are usually in the Facebook group. So this is Quakers in France, and this is not a great picture of it. It's just the one I could find that had up through, I think, part 15. And so Quakers in France is part of a series. They have Quakers in London, Quakers in France, Quakers in Holland. I don't know that they're all available, but this is Quakers in France. And I am doing I did a conversion to fancy flosses using a lot of my Victorian mottos and things like that. So here is kind of my color palette. I think it's beautiful. It's rich, kind of jewelry tones. I will likely post this somewhere someday. And this is being stitched on a Picture This Plus 16 count in barnwood. So I'm kind of going out there from the cream fabric that was in the mock-up. And I did a little over 200 stitches. And so I've gotten a fair start on a motif. And it wasn't the best motif to start on because it's not a symmetrical motif. It's not meant to be symmetrical. But it makes my brain hurt because my brain works in symmetry. So the first color I'm using is a Victorian motto that was a free gift from her eBay shop. And it's Purple Splendor. And it is a beautiful variegated purple. And it's not popping as much, but I'm really actually liking how this looks. So this is the upper left-hand corner. And I am stitching it. I usually am a center out stitcher, but I am stitching this in the way that it was released as a SAL. So part by part, because it's just making my brain easier because they release it in small chunks. And so that just made more sense to my brain. And this one is currently living in an Amazon pouch. It does have its bag tag on it. I went through and actually wrote down all my bag tags. They just aren't on the bags yet. And I think that will come after I go through and possibly do a major purge. I don't want my projects to hear me and start freaking out. But I likely am going to purge some things. And so I might see if anybody's interested in them. We'll see. I'm not sure what that's going to look like yet. I don't think I can really destash them because some of them I'm not going to be providing floss with them. So it might just be like, hey, are you interested in this? I might. I don't know. I haven't gotten that far yet. I think it depends on how far along the project is because I have some that are not that far. If it's DMC, I'm going to send it to you. I can't send you the pattern because a lot of the ones I'm thinking about purging are not paper patterns. They are digital. And so copyright tells me, no way. Intellectual property. All right, let's talk some stash. And I've got two stashes, not mustaches, two stashes that overlap with new kitted projects. So last week I talked about how I'm going to be starting the Letters from Hogwarts Stitch Your Own Adventure by Cunning Cross Stitch on Facebook. And so I did Misty, my BFF, my fabric dealer. She had posted where she was selling 3/4 yards so that it gives you more than enough. And on 18 count, I'm going to have way more than enough. In fact, I'm going to cut this down. But she did a mystery die. So you had the option of getting like 4 different dies that are all going to be perfect for the project. And so I did an 18 count. And I'm not going to be able to be in the screen with it, but this is what it looks like. Beautiful. It looks kind of like parchment. Gorgeous. Smells great. I mean, this is a huge piece of fabric. But she did this size so that you could pick 14 count, 28 count, over 2, and still have enough. So those of us with 18 count, we're going to have extra fabric to spare, which never makes me sad. And so I have already gone ahead and gotten, I think, the vast majority of the DMC that goes along with this. And I have split it into, this is intro, and then each chapter is within this. But I've seen some really cool ideas. And one of my things is I'm going to be bringing in some of my étoile colors for different elements. I don't know what all that's going to look like yet. So my goal is to go ahead and maybe get this started this weekend. The first chapter releases January 1, but within that time you're supposed to get the whole frame stitched, and the frame is rather elaborate. So that's some of my stash. I reached out to Misty. Are we seeing a theme here? Because I had purchased from her Quaker Floral Puzzles. She is one that she'll reach out every now and again and say, hey, I want to do an order from Ink Circles. Anybody want anything? And this is one I had been dying over, specifically in this charcoal background. And I had already pulled my flosses, and I reached out and I said, hey, I want to use your fabric for Quaker Floral Puzzle, and I want to do the charcoal fabric. I had looked to see it's stitched originally on charcoal linen from Lakeside Linens and Designs, and they don't make that in Anita. And I said, any chance you'd like to try to do a charcoal fabric for me? And she said, sure. She tried it. She was successful. She said she loved it. And then she said, okay, well, do you want a quarter yard, which would be enough, or do you just want the whole half yard? She told me how much it was. I was like, half yard, please, because this piece of fabric is insanely gorgeous. And it's a lot. Like, it's this times folded in half. But isn't that beautiful? Look at that. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. So, but this one is not on the path to start yet. Now, I went through and did a conversion of the, and these are not on one of the rings. Everybody calls them Diana rings. I call them Annie rings because I used them too. I'm just kidding. Credit where credit is due, Diana. It is Kismet. Had them. This is a beautiful, thick Charles Craft. Love it. I went through and did a conversion to fancy floss. And so I've got all kinds of beautiful color and cotton, Victorian motto. Actually, I think a lot of it. I think I have a Weeks. I don't even think I have a Gentle Arts in here. Oh, a Ship's Manor. So yeah, I've got a whole lot of fun pastels to go on this beautiful charcoal fabric that I got from Misty. So this was a Misty week because I'm not done sharing. So this is a start for at some point. I don't know. And this is living in a Amazon project bag. Actually, no, I lie. This is in a Studio Calico bag from back in the day when I used to get Studio Calico kits. But it's basically the same bag. All right, so let's talk more Misty fabric. So apparently when she did her, this was her half off sale, she posted a ton of really awesome fabrics, and apparently I liked this one so much that I got like 3 pieces of it. So I got an 18 count. I got an 18 count and I got a 20 count. I'm a gray gal, and this is kind of a gray taupe, and I love it. I'm obsessed. Apparently, clearly, but I think these were 12 a piece, and it's for an 18 by 21 inch piece. That's a steal. That's a deal of a steal. And on 20 count and 18 count, that you can do a pretty big pattern on an 18 by 21 inch piece. All right, we're about to hit the point of possible no return, so we will see. All right, next thing I got was my Under the Sea Fabrics Fabric of the Month. I joined at the beginning of August. We just got our September, no, we just got our August fabric. She's been behind and not feeling well, and her house had, her garage had no air conditioning, and you know, it's hot here in Texas. Sorry, that was rather crinkly. And so I get 18 count Ada, and this is insanely beautiful. This is Hera. Love it. Beautiful. Amazing. So yeah, awesome. All right, fingers crossed. We just passed 33 minutes and 15 seconds, and we are still recording. Amanda May, you may be my genius friend of life. All right, I got 2 more things to share. So I had shown you in the past with my Tranquil Tulips, my Heaven and Earth Designs Tranquil Tulips, I had made my own Floss Buddy. We're going to call it Floss Buddy Wannabe. Floss Buddy Hot Mess. And so I reached out to Karina with the real Floss Buddy of Bags Plus and said, hey, I read somewhere that you do like layaway. So I've been laying away this one. And the way her layaway works is you determine what you'd like, what fabric she has available to do it, and she sets up a PayPal invoice, and you pay 10% to start your layaway, and then I think you have like 6 months to pay the remainder, or however quickly you can. And so I just paid her a little bit here and there when I got different paychecks, and so I am now the proud owner of a 90 pockets Floss Buddy, and I chose a gorgeous Tula fabric. Is he not so cute? He's so cute. and she had asked if I wanted like a ribbon close, and this is like the longest ribbon close ever. Like it will wrap around and come back around. And then inside, I don't know if this is just the color she picked. She did not ask me which color, but like my turquoise love heart is like, she knows me. She knows what I love. And then in the middle, it's got a pocket right here for a highlighter or a pen. It's, or, you know, a stylus if you're like me and use a tablet. It's got a scissor fob thing and 90 pockets for floss. So I don't know what's going to live in here yet. I do have another Heaven and Earth that I have purchased floss for, but considering the fact that I have literally put 0 additional stitches into Tranquil Tulips since the last time I showed it, that'll happen anytime soon. I had considered possibly putting my letters, it doesn't really go, but who cares? It's beautiful fabric. Putting my letters from Hogwarts flosses in here, and I could even have a line in between for like chapter 1, chapter 2, things like that. So that was my other thought, but I'd have to abominate some things before that. But isn't it beautiful? So thank you. And it got here like lickety split. It came from like London on a, I don't know what, but fast. Fast, folks, fast. Sometimes things take 100 years, and sometimes they're like, I blinked and they arrived. All right, so then I have been salivating over these patterns since I saw them on Instagram. You know my love of the blue flower. Janine, she speaks my squirrel love language. Is there such a thing? And is that weird that I'm like, my squirrel love language? But squirrels and acorn, squirrels and acorn. I mean, you saw my hashtag acorn house, acorn hacienda. And so she had posted that she had some Halloween patterns. I'm not a Halloween stitcher, but these are my jam. My jelly, my jam. And so I happened to like be browsing the Facebooks when Trisha at 3 Owl Thread said, hey, new blue flower, what do you want? And I was like, all of them. Okay, and I said, no, I have to restrain myself. There were really 2 that I was like most like insanely, like really? It was one, and then I zoomed in on another one and went, okay, genius. So let me show you. This was the one that I knew I had to have, which is Halloween Acorns, which reminds me, you know, it's of a similar Quakery, quilty vibe as my Spring Acorns, which I love. And this is charted in a combination of Weeks Dye Works, Classic Colorworks, I believe, and DMC. And my thought is I'm going to pull as many fancies as I can because I'm not a fan of Weeks Dye Works. That's just me. So yeah, this is on my, at some point. I got to decide what I'm going to do with that other Halloween before I can start more Halloween. Now, the one I zoomed in on and went, genius, is the Halloween Squirrel. Shut up. Vampire Squirrel handing out acorn snacks to a ballerina princess squirrel standing on a pumpkin. And then like an acorn lantern. Like, like, I can't. Like, it makes me just so happy. Like, this brings me joy. I don't even like Halloween, but like, squirrels in costumes. Not even just clothes. And I know Michelle Bindi, she loves animals in clothes. Like, she talks about, oh, the bird. Yes, I'm with ya. But like, even more so, animals in costumes. This one is actually charted in almost the exact same colors as the other one. So I might be just biting the bullet and doing as charted, because I tend to do her charts as charted. Up to this point, my other 2, my Quilting Bee and my Spring Acorns, are as charted. So yeah, I might have to. Or close to as charted. I think like I might have done the DMC conversion for one that I just could not find, and I was going to start it, whether I had it or not. my gosh. I've rambled on for... This isn't my longest video, but I have broken my 33-minute and 15-second streak. Yes. Yes, sir. All right, friends. I did not talk plans. I got so excited about all the stash and the kitting and the things and the whatever. Okay, so here are my plans. I'm done with homework. Whoop, whoop. I want to finish Miss Cottontail. I am going to work on that tonight and see if I can get the majority of that accomplished. Yep. And then I'm going to, I think, go ahead and put in some extra credit. What I did was and I saw somebody had said they did this, and I thought, smart folks. I have a tiny decision wheel for my whip go. But I did this one. This one says, well, come on. Ain't gonna work. Ain't gonna work. Ain't gonna work. Okay. Well, it says for extra credit / challenge stitching. So I was having a hard time like going, oh, what do I want to work on? Whatever. So I put in all of my extra credit tasks. So I have XC1 through XC9. And then I have the letters for 24-hour cross stitch, monthly across stitch. So I have shorter days. And so I spun, and I forgot to remove it. I spun in whichever task it was, and I marked it what it was. I think it was extra credit 9, was HL Moth. HL's Moth. And so I went ahead and was like, okay, cool. I'm going to work on that. And I started it last weekend, and then homework went off the rails, and I decided to switch projects like midday one day. Mid-afternoon. I shouldn't say midday. I don't get to stitch during the day. And so I was like, I guess since I've already done that, I didn't start those stitches in HL Moth. One, I didn't, okay, so it was 500 stitches. This is where I thought it would be okay. I don't think I had any stitches before Monday anyway. I think I was off. I took Monday off to get some things accomplished. And I stitched, and I was stitching on HL Moth on Monday. I did not put any stitches in over the weekend. Because I know that's a big no-no. Don't start your stitching before. Now I'm starting to wonder. Because I didn't take a picture. I had a picture from before, and then I put in less than 100 stitches. I think I had like 51 and 34 that I put in like on Monday or something. And then I went, nope, I got to work on my homework. I started my homework, did all of that first task. And then I came back and put in the remainder of those 500 and some odd stitches after that. So now I'm thinking, oh crud, do I need to go back and try to like explain that? Is somebody going to watch this and tell me I'm cheating? Poop. I'm such a rule follower. So I guess I need to just go back and say I did 400 stitches. Like I did 500, but the 100 was before, and don't count those. I just didn't take a picture. Oi! I don't know what to do, folks. What do I do? What do I do? Okay, well, I'll sort that all out. And if I don't get credit, I don't get credit, and that's okay. I feel bad about that. Okay, anyway. So, this weekend, stitching. My daughter has her baton class tomorrow, so I usually stitch during that. And then when she's in Sunday school on Sunday, I usually stitch. So I know there's at least two-ish hours there, or a little less than 2 hours. My hair's kind of starting to bug me now. So yeah, I'd like to get HL Moth. I'd like to get Miss Cottontail. I'd like to go a little bit more into Quakers in France this weekend. I'm going to be looking at projects with a like eagle eye to see what I want to keep, what I want to purge, get it down to just my most loved projects. And it may just be that they go and they move out of my cart, because I have two. I currently have had to, with as much as I have kitted for possible future starts and what I have like as an active whip, I have 2 Raskogs, those IKEA carts. I have a turquoise cart and a pink cart, and the top of both are full of whips, of current whips. And then the bottoms, I'm looking at them right now. The bottoms have, one cart is chock full of fully kitted projects. that I'm dying to start. And then the other one is about half full of partially kitted projects. And my guess is that before I know it, that will also be full with fully kitted projects. So yeah, I love kitting and I love starting. I need to love finishing. And I'm kind of in a finishing kick. But I mean, I feel like there's some things that I'm just kind of like, you know what, I don't love it as much as when I started it. And if it's not bringing me joy, why do I even have it? Why wouldn't I pass it off to somebody who would stitch it and love it and it would bring them joy? Or is it something that I can pick a piece of the pattern and finish off that section and finish it as a small? That was my other thought. It's like, okay, on Mysterious Halloween Town. Somebody had a fantastic idea last week when I was talking about Emerald City Sal and how I had restarted it and what I was going to do with all of that old stitching. And I cannot remember who it was, so I dearly apologize if I'm forgetting who you are. But I thought your idea was genius. And they talked about cutting apart the motifs and finishing them into ornaments or something, or smalls. And so what I've already done that. I went through and I cut the small motifs when I could into smaller sections. I've already cut pieces of wool felt that are going to be the background. And I'm basically going to like like blanket stitch, applique stitch, the cross stitch piece on the piece of felt, and then finish them as cute flat ornaments or even puffy ornaments for my daughter's. She has 2 Christmas trees. Yes, she does. Yeah, I cannot wait for Christmas because I bought more trees last year. Like, she has a hot pink 4-foot tree with hot pink lights. In her room, she has, so that's outside her room, like in our hallway. And that has most of her ornaments. In her room, she has what, it was At Home, which used to be Garden Ridge back in the day, sold what they called a unicorn tree. And it is pastel, and the colors go up the tree, and it's tinsel-y kind of, and white lights. So that goes in her room. Yes. And then hot pink. And then we have a large green family tree. And then my husband upstairs has an orange tree with blue ornaments and baseball ornaments and a blue chopper. And that is his Houston Astros tree. And then I this year purchased, and I don't know where it's going to go, but I think it's going to be my new like cross stitch finish tree. And it's rose gold tinsel. Like, my obsession for rose gold is real. Like, real. I have rose gold shoes. I have my rose gold bracelets today. I have on my yellow gold. And I have a rose gold tree. Yes, I do. So I cannot wait for Christmas. And that's the other thing. I really don't have any Christmas stitching going. So I'm thinking like, I gotta rectify that situation because I started the Advent Animals like gung-ho. I'm gonna do them. I have like 4 of them finished. I think I'm gonna finish them and be done. And that's okay. I'm gonna have to be okay with that. I am a completionist, so it like brings me anxiety to think about not finishing it. But there's always later in time. I don't have to do it right by gosh now if it's not bringing me joy, if it's not something I want to stitch on. But I feel like I need to have a like curated collection of projects that I will stitch on until they're finished, and then I can start new things. Although I still am probably going to have a birthday start, and I think it's going to be Ink Circles Rosetta. So watch for that maybe coming. I think I'm going to call it the Joy-Filled Birthday Sal. We'll see. So if you maybe want to start something with me on October 13th. Somebody else said their husband's birthday was October 13th. And I was like, go you. Best birthday ever. I mean, granted, everybody has amazing birthdays, but I love my birthday. 13's my lucky number. 13's a great number. Can't imagine why more hotels don't have them. And now I have apparently rambled on for literally, I think, 13 minutes. I'm not even kidding that I'm looking at the timestamp thinking, I'm fairly certain that I was done 13 minutes ago and I've just... So with that, I'm going to leave you for this week. And next week, watch for my video a little bit earlier in the week, maybe about Thursday. It will probably be shorter because I will have less things to share, and that's okay too. And I hope you have a great stitchy weekend and a stitchy week ahead. Keep finding things that fill you with joy. And with that, and that was probably going to be the picture that YouTube was going to pick for my thumbnail was this one. And if it does, gangsta. Anyway, y'all have a great week, and I will check in with you for Flosstube 19 next week. Bye, guys.